Now you shut up. I have something I want to say. It's my turn. I'm special. This is Dean Gornitis, Unleash This Book Reviews. God, I'm trying so hard to stop laughing because it's not funny. Unleash This Book Reviews, where I talk to you about books, and today comic books, because I haven't touched on comic books in a long time, and I like comic books because I do. And if you don't, then skip the video. And if you don't think I know enough about them, then skip the video. But I know enough that I read what I like to read, and I go there to buy comic books. So here's a list of comic book stores where I go to. People who are out there wondering, oh, I want to get into comic books, what should I get? Or, oh, Christmas is coming up, what should I ask for? Or, oh, something else. This is a list of the books that right now I'm reading on a monthly basis or bi-weekly if it comes out more often or whatever. Basically that I'm more or less subscribed to, and I want to know what's coming next. So, in no particular order, here are some of my favorites in comic books right now, and why. Notes, please. Number one, like I said, I'm not numbering these. So I can't remember if I talked about this before, but Captain America was rebooted to take him to Dimension Z. And there Captain America was, you know, on this alien planet with alien creatures and fighting and stuff like that, and I loved everything about it. It was so pulpy, the story was pulp, bright colors everywhere, each cover was bright colored, so much action and suspense and fun times, really cartoonish kind of looking, but really gritty too. And I like the concept of Captain America in a like a quirky, like America kind of way, but here it wasn't really about that at all. It was more about the trans-dimensional, crazy time-traveling type of stuff, and that's always a blast for me, so I love that. Now that just ended, that arc, and now he's back in, you know, our time, fighting real enemies from our time and stuff, and I've kind of not been as into it, so I'm gonna, you know, keep going, see how it goes. But if you're looking for some awesome Captain America, numbers 1 through 12 of Marvel's most recent reboot was really fun for me. I'm still really big on Animal Man, which is a DC book, and this one's only like $2.99 when most of DC's stuff is $3.99. And it's dark, it's kind of weird and twisted, and Animal Man is actually like the counterpart to Swamp Thing. So if you know Swamp Thing, just the name, Swamp Thing is sort of like what they call the avatar, or a godlike sort of species of all the plant matter in the world. So he's the avatar of the green, they call him. Well, Animal Man is the avatar of the red, or all the living things on Earth. Animals and all animals, insects, things like that. Things are finally getting back on track after they spent like 6 months doing this stupid tie-in with all these other comic books, trying to get people to buy, you know, trying to get people like me, like Animal Man, to buy the other ones and stuff, but what it came out was just a really crappy story, and they're finally done with that after the past like 2 or 3 issues have been, you know, continuing on since then. So happy to be back. Just get into it. Right now there's bad guys that are called like the Brotherhood of Blood or something stupid like that, but it's so cool. Yeah, so finally that's one to check out, and that's written by Jeff Lemire, and a lot of people know Jeff Lemire from, you know, a lot of different things that he's done, Sweet Tooth being a very big one, which brings me on to Trillium, which is written and illustrated by Jeff Lemire, and this is published on Dark Horse, and Trillium is Jeff Lemire at his best, at least in my opinion, when he kind of has almost total control on everything that's going on, and his art is so unique. I love it. It's kind of much more sketchy looking, raw. It looks cool though, and this story is full of, you know, time traveling, aliens, but then like, you know, all that like sci-fi fun stuff, but then, you know, for me at least, a gripping love story. Some people say that there hasn't been a lot put in to make you emotionally connected to these characters, but I think enough has been, and I'm enjoying it. I think I'm on like issue 5 right now, and it's one of my favorite comics that I'm reading, so I highly recommend that by him. Moving on from Jeff Lemire, I've been getting really into, now there's right now Marvel's biggest Spider-Man is called the Superior Spider-Man, and that's great, but it's totally your everyday comic book, you know, no big stylistic leaps or bounds that are really making it stand out there, say from like maybe an avant-garde standpoint. Now that's not to say the story isn't, because right now what's going on in the Superior Spider-Man, which used to be the Amazing Spider-Man, is that Doc Ock has taken over Peter Parker's body. So like the past 20 issues of Spider-Man, you know, the main Spider-Man story has been from the perspective of Doc Ock in the body of Spider-Man, which is so cool. And I'm so glad they haven't wimped out and gone back to Peter Parker, let him come back in after like 10 issues or something like that. But aside from that, which I mean obviously is pretty groundbreaking stuff, there's obviously a lot of fans who are really angry or really excited or whatever. It's cool to see companies take chances like that though. But that's just a side note. What I'm really into when it comes to Spider-Man right now is Marvel Knights Spider-Man. So this one, the Marvel Knights series, is a new thing that Marvel is trying. Knights spelled with a K, by the way, where they're bringing in, you know, new artists, new writers that haven't normally worked with them before. Maybe they're up-and-comers, things like that, to do pretty much what they want. This Marvel Knights Spider-Man, it's a 5-issue series. Issue 3 just came out. Puberty. While you're watching this, issue 3 just came out, and the artwork in this is phenomenal. Hands down, best artwork I'm reading in any comics right now. I mean, feel free to message me in the comments if you think there's better stuff out there, but I love this book. I probably look forward to it more than any series right now if I had to guess, although I know I just said that about Trillium too. But whew, the story is so cool in and of itself. God, phone, you're ruining the video. But the art is where it's at. I'm not even going to go much farther than that. It's so trippy. It's like an acid trip. I've never taken acid, but I'm assuming from what I've heard. So definitely check that one out. For those of you who were born around 1988 like me and grew up on the Ninja Turtles of the early 90s cartoon series on TV, I mean, that was my bread and butter as a kid. That was my cartoon. And now, you know, I'm an adult, and most of us who watch that are adults now. Please check out the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic book if you're interested in that at all. Not the animated series version that's based off the new Nickelodeon show, but it's just called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's so cool for fans like me. It's like taking all the stuff you remember as a kid, but really digging deep and like going much more adult on things, and the storylines delve so much deeper. It's more mature. I definitely wouldn't like give it to my 5 or 6 year old son to like read or something. I don't know. There's just a bit more violence and stuff like that, and it's darker. It's cool. I'm so happy that they're doing it. It really brings me back to being a kid again, but in a much deeper way than just, you know, popping in the DVD and watching it again and realizing like, yeah, this was fun, this is cool when I was 6, but you know, 7, 8, 9 years old or whatever like that. But it's not really deep. This doesn't give much more than the same pleasures you got when you were a kid, to say it another way. This does, and I definitely recommend it for any Ninja Turtle fans out there. I also, if you're looking for something really dark, twisted, and creepy, like say Silent Hill or Resident Evil type of atmosphere, check out Bedlam. It has nothing to do really with that more surreal stuff, you know, like Silent Hill is very surreal with monsters and things like that. This is much more based in the real world, real life, but it's creepy as hell, and it's dark. It's drawn mainly in a lot of blacks and reds for one. Then there's just a maniac killer, and the beginning of each issue shows another gruesome way that he killed somebody, but it's also kind of entertaining. It's not like so gruesome where you're sick to your stomach and you're like, ugh, but it kind of like makes you question, like, what kind of a person am I that I'm kind of getting a kick and smiling out of the way he killed a guy this time? That kind of a thing. And the story kind of goes from there as they try to follow, they're trying to figure out who this guy is and you know, get him before he kills more people. It's on issue 10 right now, and that's fun. I'm assuming it's got to come to a close eventually. This isn't a series that they could keep going forever, at least I think. I don't know. Check that though if you like creepy kind of stuff. And lastly, for you cartoon addicts out there on TV, I don't think it's up for debate, but feel free to debate me if you want to. That Adventure Time and Regular Show are two of the best cartoons on TV right now. Like, and each has their own comic book series. And the Adventure Time one's okay. It's fun. I kind of enjoy it. But the Regular Show one is just a lot better, I think. And it's really fun to see different artists take their interpretations camera stopped. On regular shows, comic book, they let the artists kind of decide how they want to draw it themselves, whereas with Adventure Time, it's always the same, and it always looks identical to how it looks on TV, except for the last few pages. They usually put a little side comic in there for fun, but the regular show one, yeah, is great. And if you like Adventure Time, you can check that one out too. I've also just started reading Powerpuff Girls because it's drawn exactly like the cartoon, and they don't make the new cartoons. Like, they make new Adventure Time and regular show. This is kind of the only way to get new Powerpuff Girls, and that kind of brings me back to nostalgia, but it's a fun series too. I'm having fun with it beyond nostalgia type things. So that's everything I have to say about comics. Like I said, I'm not a comic expert. I've just been recently kind of getting into them for a year or two now. Yeah, closer to 2 years. It's fun. It's different, right? Those of you who've been following me from before, I will have an update on Thomas Pynchon's Inherent Vice soon, which I almost sweared love. I freaking love it. But that's just me, and I can understand why other people wouldn't. It's definitely not something for everybody, both in the way the author writes, the stylistic choices he makes, and on subject matter. I can see why some people wouldn't think the subject matter is that fun to learn about. But I'll clock in with an update on that soon, and you know, leave me comments down below because I'm narcissistic, and follow me on Twitter at unleash_this because I'm narcissistic. I will see you guys soon. Take care. If you're watching this before the holidays, tell your parents, tell your family that you love them, even if you fight a lot. You know, they're trying their best. They're good people too. If you don't fight a lot, hey, why not tell them one more time why you love them? Because they're great people, right? Either way, spread the love. I'm trying to do the best I can. All right, see ya.